There we go.
This just in. Breaking news. Bacon is tasty. Chris McSizzles is on the scene, reporting live.
Quote, fake news. Fake news. You are fake news. It's all fake news. Fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen. It's all fake news.
Hello, is this thing on? Technical difficulties, guys, to start the show. What do you know?
I think I know what happened with my camera now.
Okay.
Because when I came into my little, I call it my office area, but it's actually like the dark, cold, musty basement. Our cat like runs in here all the time, and when I came in here, like everything was all over the place. Like my monitors were all skewed, and like the camera was knocked off the monitors where I have it, and I think something shorted. My chair keeps on falling. Come on.
Can you not win today?
I can't. I can't, but I will.
All right, everybody. So I need to do... I'm still adjusting my camera too, so don't feel bad, everybody. Can I fix it, honey?
Well, no.
This side? Whatever. We'll let go of that. Guys, again, technical difficulties to start the show. That's what the name of the game is, and I think that's going to be our theme going forward. Constantly having technical difficulties on this thing.
Jeez.
Telling you what. I can't even get my lights right. Ugh. Anyway, guys, I'm Mad Wolf Gaming. Welcome to the show. Another edition, episode 5. Episode 5 of the show. And we are...
Cinco.
What's that?
Cinco.
And we are moving on into a new week, man. We got a lot to cover this week. Lots of things happened over the week that we are here to discuss. And we'll get that out of the way here in just a few minutes. Thorne, what do you got today, buddy?
Man, today was... It started out like this week started out like like I was worried about this week and this month because I work in sales, which is very, like, what have you done for me lately? And last month, I had what I felt for me was a really bad month. Like we're supposed to get like a new account win like every week. I had one for the entire month. Now, granted, that win brought in more revenue than anybody else's wins combined. So I had the most revenue, which was great. But I was fretting it, and my boss's boss, like, was either she left the company or she was fired almost a month ago, and it just coincided with me having a down month, and so I was really fretting it. My boss has been like on everybody to get more stuff going and whatnot. So I was today I was really pushing hard. I was trying to get some new appointments scheduled. It was going pretty rough, and then I had a conversation with my manager, and I just told him, kind of, talked with him. I was like, I'm just worried that I'm not doing enough. And he said, well, come over here. And he showed me all these numbers, and he showed me like how, I mean, I've only been with this company for 5 months. So the way that my accounts are ramping though, is like I'm ramping and I'm doing business like a rep that's been there for a year and a half. So I'm ahead of schedule. And then he told me, He's like, you continue like this. He said, in January, I'm going to put your name out there for a promotion. And I'm like, it's like when you hear the like, what? I was thinking this conversation was going to go a completely different way. And then he told me that, and I'm like, all right. So I felt reinvigorated. I went out and I called a customer that I had a meeting with a couple weeks ago, and they're like, you know what, your prices are a little bit higher on some of these things than my other suppliers. He said, but you know what, I like you, and we had a good conversation. He's like, so I'll just give you all my business. And it's a very large account, and got that win on board. And then I've got some new appointment schedules, so the day ended well. And I'm hoping it carries on for the rest of the month, and I'm hoping it carries on until at least January. So then I can get a promotion, and I can be the boss and like order people around, peon, go get me coffee, that kind of thing. So.
Well, hopefully that works out for you, man. We all want to do that sometimes. Just get on, guys.
Yeah.
So on the same kind of token, guys, I've been in the process of job hunting myself. I've actually been really close to nailing down a job that I've been wanting to grab for a while. Back into several years ago, I was in what's called MSP work, which is managed service provider. And I loved it because I got to get my hands dirty in a lot of different areas of IT. Setting up routers and setting up switches, doing server stuff. And now I'm doing crap that I could teach my 13-year-old son how to do on a Friday afternoon. Okay, and he'd probably still do a better job than half the guys I work with. On that same token...
And just for reference, this 13-year-old is like a really smart 13-year-old. Okay, he's not saying that his 13-year-old is not smart.
No, what I'm saying is that the job is that easy that I could probably teach my 4-year-old how to do the job. So that's what I'm trying to say. In the meantime here, so I put just out of the blue over the last few weeks, I've been putting my app in randomly to things on LinkedIn, a couple other job boards just to see if I get any bites. And I had a bite a few weeks ago that basically will get me back into the MSP work, but not just on the bottom floor. They want to bring me on and it's sounding like it's going to happen, but I'm holding with cautious reserve, just till I get something in writing or something guaranteed that I'll be basically the lead tech for this company, and I'll be able to go out to client sites and troubleshoot all kinds of different things. Like last week, I was there on a Friday afternoon, Friday all day. Went out with the boss, the owner of the company, to a client site, and we got to sit there and troubleshoot network issues all day. And I was in my glory. It was okay. So what's going on here? Great, got it, good. We fixed it, and we got to carry on. We did a quick inventory of their site, and then we got to move on. That's the kind of things that I want to do, and that's what I'll be able to do. So I'll go back again this Friday, hopefully narrow everything down, and as long as everything comes out right, I can put in my notice with the other place and be done.
Be like the classic half-baked, go in there, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
I literally, and I've never had to do this before, but today I literally had to, after I got off a call, I stood up, I went on break, and I just went away from my desk for 20 minutes. I was like, I don't give flying fuck what's going on. If I don't, I'm decking somebody and I'm going to jail. I'm like, I can't go to jail. So, because if I put him, if I start throwing fists, he's not gonna like it. So, long story short, this guy's been a thorn in my side for a long story of time, and I'm ready to move on. And I'm kind of in that in between point where I'm excited, but I'm cautiously optimistic at the same time. I'm just a little hesitant because I don't have it in writing yet, and that's where I'm at. And once I get over that hump, which hopefully will be Friday, I'll have a big sigh of relief and I can go out and have a party.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I did the biggest no-no today. I was calling for appointments. And I was on the phone with this lady, and I was so close to getting an appointment, but she kept on waffling back and forth. And so she kept on giving me every excuse of why, she didn't want to have an appointment, have a meeting. And I was coming up with good good rebuttals, and I almost had her there. And then she's like, you know what, I just don't have time right now. And so she goes on this big diatribe about how she doesn't have time. Well, and she says, so call me back in a couple months and we'll see where we are. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. And I thought she hung up the phone.
Whoops.
And I was in a room with a coworker. Me and this coworker, we hit it off really well right when I started, and we were in a kind of a conference room. That's where we kind of sit. We just pass ideas back and forth to each other, and I started mocking her to him. He was like, "What'd you say?" And I was like, "Oh, she said I don't have time for this."
Whoops.
I hear out of my headphone, hello? And I was like, ah! I hung up real quick.
Well, you might have lost that account.
Yeah, I might not have an appointment with that person. So.
Oh, so
Rookie
that
mistake, man. Rookie mistake.
yeah. I luckily we've got this mute button. So every time I want to cuss a client out, I hit the mute button on the phone and I double check. I'm like, yep, I got it on. Now I can swear. Anyhow,
I'm just
guys.
hoping she had one of those old phones that, like, the actual receiver where you put the headset down in it, and like it didn't sit down, that she didn't actually hear me, because she didn't sound offended. She was like, hello, like, she was waiting for a dial tone and she didn't have it. So I'm hoping that was it.
We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't come to bite you in the butt.
I should know in a couple days if my boss says, "Hey, we got to talk to you about your phone etiquette."
All right, guys. So you might see some new things on the channel. Like I said, this thing's ever evolving until we can get some professional graphics artists. We added new name banners above here, done by Thorn here, and down at the bottom, we added our social medias again. So if you want to reach us, we've got on the bottom left-hand corner, you've got the YouTube channel where you'll find all of our past episodes. You'll have our Twitter in the middle, and then you'll have our Discord if you guys want to talk about non-show stuff in the middle. That's actually the Misfit Discord, but there is a section in there for the Technically Difficult podcast. It's open to any. We'll have a section in there for open to anybody if you guys have anything you want to share, want to discuss, want to talk about offline. And then if we get into some good conversations, we can bring them online and continue it here for you, and vice versa. So that's kind of our plan.
If you ever want to hear from two like old guys that play games and have opinions that they think that matter that really don't, I mean that's the Discord you want to go to. Right?
Yeah, and guys, we'll get into that a little bit here, but it's been a really, really big explosion over the last week and a half, and it's been a great experience. So hopefully that will continue on from there. So that's pretty much what's wrapped up in our personal lives. It's exciting as you can get, guys. We're gonna go next into talking about what happened last week here on the show. We kicked off our Dungeons and Dragons episode 1 of Dungeons and Dragons with our DM Taprat Bang, who, guys, we have to give him a big compliment. That story within that he was telling and the narrative was awesome.
Well, don't have a show. Actually, I think Tap is a Mixer streamer.
Yeah, he is.
He's a dirty Mixer streamer.
So
no, it was so much fun. One, getting back into D&D. Matt and I have been in a couple D&D campaigns. It was almost a year ago, I think, since we last did D&D.
I don't know if it was quite that long, but it's been like the beginning of the year.
It seems like a long time anyway. But getting back into D&D was fun in itself, and going into a campaign that I've never done. With some new archetypes and new races and all that stuff. But then the effort that Tap put into it was just amazing. I had usually when you do a D&D campaign, it's always like at the first session when you start out, it's always like, okay, so you're at the town inn or you're at the town bar or something like that. And you have to come up with, your story of how your characters met and like the spider web of intricacies and whatnot.
Spent all day thinking about it. I spent all day. How am I gonna get there?
How does my character know this character, and then how do they know that character, and do these characters get along and whatnot?
No, I don't have them engaged yet.
Had it all laid out. Had it all laid out, and it was amazing and fun, and it was nice to be able to kind of run with the DM, his story that he had set up, and all it took was for us just to give him a little bit about our characters, and he wrote it in so well. So yeah, that's we're coming back next week with that, right?
Yeah, that was going to be what my next thing was. Is guys, we've also announced that we're actually going to switch it from a monthly campaign to a bi-monthly campaign.
Bi-monthly.
You'll be getting, so basically what you're going to get here on TDP is you're going to get 4 episodes a month. You're going to get 2 episodes of our podcast, and you're going to get 2 episodes of D&D. All right, Snickers, go. Dog wants to get her 2 cents in here.
No, Chewy.
I can't do it anymore as I used to without the tonsils being in there.
And we'll figure out if there's like a 5-week month. We'll figure out something to do, maybe like a month in review or something like that. But yeah, every 2 weeks. So every other week you get a D&D session, and then every other week you get 2 old guys that play games and think they have opinions but really don't. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. And there's other things to bring out of that campaign that was real fun. Was seeing a different side of our former DM playing as a character. I got a kick out of him role playing that dwarf, man. That was awesome. And then to top it off, our youngest member of our group, Yeast. Yeast. Yeast.
And you know, because and Yeast is played by Jarl Davukin. I hope I pronounced that right. But so Matt and I, we played Anthem with Jarl. We played other games with Jarl, the Division 2 and all that. But we've never seen him.
Yep.
We have never seen Jarl. And so we're getting ready to set up the session and go. And there's this I'm going to say kid because he's young. There's this kid on there. And I'm like, this is not what I had pictured when I heard Jarl talk.
Yeah, not at all.
It wasn't what I heard pictured. And not that he was like, it's a bad thing, but I'm like,
it was just surprising because when I've talked to him for well over probably close to 2 years, and because he's one of my longest reigning subs, and I always had this picture of what I thought he would look like, because I kind of do that when you don't know somebody, is you picture what they look like until you actually see them, and you're like, and I was like, wow, dude, what's up? But it was fun, and we've got a good group, and this thing is going to be very entertaining and well worth a watch, guys. If you want to stop by on next Wednesday, you get to see our 2nd episode of the D&D, and I'll have the first one. I haven't got it put up on the YouTube channel yet, but I'll get that put up here this week, and you'll get a quick rundown of how good this is going to be, and barring technical difficulties, because that's our name of our thing.
I was going to say, that is the one thing that will be consistent throughout either the podcast or the D&D session. And now it's looking like it will be in my stream. So, technical difficulties will persist. It is like a persistent NPC through every zone in every MMO. Like, this NPC follows you around and causes all these problems for you.
My plan is to still. I just been so busy with my work, my current work, my future work, stream stuff, that I haven't been able to do some of the things I've been wanting to do, which is put out character bios for all the characters, so that people can actually get into the characters before they come and see the show. And that's hopefully going to happen in the next week or so. I'll at least get one out, and maybe do one a week until everybody's out. Oh, sorry guys, I still got to keep my throat watered because of different things with the medical stuff for my throat. It's kind of crazy. So
that's just Mad's excuse to drink. That's all it is.
It's Pepsi. Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi. Nothing mixed in it yet. I'm not really a mixed drink person anyway, guys. So if you see me pull up the shot glasses, then you got to worry. And the missus will get excited.
Mrs. Mann's in the background like, hell yeah.
Can you have Xander put them out, please? All right, so that was pretty much this week. You don't need to be up here, young man. See, there's the little one here, so he's going to get his little 2 cents in here. Third member of the podcast, right there, buddy.
It's like 2 eyeballs and a nose.
All right, that's enough. So, going into what's basically happened over the last few weeks, Twitch has actually been kind of quiet this week, which is kind of scary in its own right. But the things coming out of Twitch this week, it's today or yesterday officially started September 2019. It is different from Septembers in the past, and it's interesting. So I'm trying to see if I can pull up here so you guys can see exactly what you get this time around in September.
For you,
You talking to me or
yes,
okay?
I was able to renew my gifted sub from Crash
Okay.
for half.
So apparently it works now on some other things too. So let me turn this
the
on here.
First time subs, I think it will work.
So apparently if you also come off of a gifted sub, my wife was just telling me that because she renewed her sub, it was a gifted sub and she was coming off, that it works for that too. So to keep that in mind here. Subway is the official sponsor of this September, which I got a survey from
Is that old?
no, I mean this is
That's 2017.
oh shit. Well, okay then. Let me find the right one.
And now we dance.
Get out.
Let's see. All right, Roman. Not now.
Steven Universe.
All right, let's see here. Maybe I'll have to find it in my email.
The Technically Difficult podcast is in no way supported or authorized to use the Steven Universe likeness.
You know, we do what we can, though.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now I gotta find this dumb thing. So what else is going on, Thorn? But long story short, with this year's is Subway's a sponsor of this year's, and they're putting in some extra bits. They're putting in some, they're basically covering the cost of the subs this year.
Yeah. So it's half price subs on Twitch.
And maybe Subway too. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? But the thing that I mean, it's cool. It's half price subs. But the thing is, oh yeah, keep an eye on Twitch because Subway is going to be going in and gifting subs all over the place, and you know that's going to be only certain streamers, and it's just
this year does not help the little guy.
no.
I mean, you get the discounted thing, so that will help a little bit. You know, it's for new subs only, so you're gonna probably be more enticed to sub to those that you've not subbed to in the past. You know, so that is that. But the gifted subs, if I see one in my channel, I'm gonna be very, very impressed. You know, I don't expect it. It is what it is. You're also getting anything over 10 bits. It's giving you an extra 10% bits. So that's a bonus there.
Yeah.
And then Subway's apparently launching their own Twitch channel for whatever fucking reason, you know.
Now what it'll be is you could order Subway online, and you could log on to the Subway Twitch channel and watch them make your sandwich live on Twitch.
The problem with that is that you wouldn't know. You'd have to. As silly as that would be,
So
think about it. Here's an actual place for it. Though.
Dude, that dude's a good sandwich maker.
He's a sandwich artist. Here's where they can where I think Subway would make the biggest buck is if they had an extension on Twitch, like a not necessarily an overlay, but a panel where you could order Subway right from their extension.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I think the biggest bang would come from that. What this tells me is that they're looking more for corporate sponsorships to do things like this. This is another step towards global advertising. If Subway gets this kicked off, we might see more advertising stuff in the future from other big sponsors. I got a survey today from Twitch. What do they call that? Twitch RPG, which is a survey company that will basically give you everything you need to know.
Oh, I didn't even look at.
And they talked about, fast food stuff. What do you think of the quick service food? And I'm like, the last thing I think about is Subway when it comes to quick service food. I knew that's where they were going when I got it. I was like, this is a thing to get out there for Subway. And I'm like, I got to be honest. I don't care for Subway myself. I find their food to be skimping on the meats, which is what I want on a sandwich. I don't want a vegetable sandwich.
Yeah.
And you love Subway? To each their own, man. That's what somebody else was saying earlier, is that Subway Club.
In my experience, what you get with Subway is a quick meal and diarrhea.
Yeah, I mean...
It's no Chipotle. Man, Tap, you were just outdoing yourself. So you go from Subway to Chipotle?
Talk about runs.
What's next on the top of his list is Taco Bell.
Well, and the first question they ask is, what's the 3 franchises you think of when you think of quick service meals? And I was like, Popeyes, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. I don't need anything else.
We've been like going Wendy's. They have that what is it? Is it the Big Five or something like that?
The biggie bag.
Yeah, it's like you get a burger and chicken nuggets and fries and a drink for $5. I'm like, hell yeah.
So it is what it is, guys.
I haven't eaten at Subway. Up here in Wisconsin, we have Cousins subs, which is a little bit faster or a little bit better quality. From what I have found.
Stop.
Jimmy John's is quick, but again, I don't.
It makes me sick.
There's something different about it. I don't know if it's. Excuse me. I don't know if it's their bread. I don't know if it's their meats, but they're just not. I don't go out of my way for looking for Jimmy John's. Now, if we want to talk about my favorite sub place, it's got to be Jersey Mike's right now. Jersey Mike's is by far, to me, right now, is probably the top of the sub food chain. And then I would probably have to say it's something like your quick sub places. Penn Station comes to mind. And all that. And Firehouse Subs is also up there near the top. So those are probably my top 3.
Yeah, I like Firehouse.
Their spicy meatball, oh my lord, is really good.
I haven't had spicy meatball.
So they have a meatball sub on their menu, but they don't really talk about the spicy one on there. But you get their spicy one, and whoo,
Huh.
Yes.
Firehouse is legit. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So that was kind of what they were talking about, and what do you think on this? What do you think on that? And I'm like, dude, I go for quality over quantity and money, unless I'm broke, and then I go for cheap. So that's really where I'm at. So yeah, so September this year isn't as good as in the years past, but it's still there. So
Yeah, and half price subscriptions. That's good. Like you said though, that's gonna benefit a lot of the higher echelon of streamers, which is fine. They put the work in. I'm not complaining about that, but I just if you're gonna do like an official month, dedicated to streamers, make it where it's a little bit further reaching than just like the highest tier. That's my own.
I see it now. You say they put the work in. I did. There are a handful, a select few that do put the work in. I'm not gonna say that. There are some that get by just because on the stupid shit that they do, they're putting no effort into their channel. I'm sorry, I'm off on my rant again. I see what I put into it, and I really don't know what they put into it, but just from looking at the content that they put out, in my opinion, there's certain people out there, and I can name at least 2 or 3 off the top of my head, that I know my content is, my stream itself is better than what there probably is. They just got a bigger following because they've done stupid shit to get that following.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it. It's what gets the views. Who knows? But on that same token, this is designed to really reach your top ends because that's where people are going to put their money. You know, I expect to get a handful out of this, and that's probably about it. I don't expect to get a lot of new stuff out of this year. I'm hoping because I've got a giveaway going on, guys. This is where I'm going to do a shameless plug. Got a giveaway that if I reach 25 subs on my channel, I will be giving away a copy of EA's Star Wars. I can never remember the name of it. The new Star Wars game that's coming out, the Fallen Order, the deluxe edition for the Fallen Order. I'll be giving away that and some special Mad Wolf merchandise, and there might even be a TDP shirt that gets created just for this production.
Hell yeah.
If we somehow then reach 35, we'll add some more merch in there to go for that.
We'll get the merchandising team on that right away.
I've got some ideas. Just got to get them into place.
Yeah, I hear you.
The missus is just egging me on over here. Last month we did it that if I would have reached the goal, I would have streamed in a dress for one stream. And that's the top end. That was a 35 sub goal. That would have get me 2 new emote slots. And it would have given you guys back because I'd have done a giveaway probably for something like I'm doing this time around. And I would have done a stream in a dress. And I was like, well, for September, I'm not doing that. But for October, if we don't reach it and we want to try again, we'll do it for a Halloween stream.
Yeah. I need to find something to do.
Something to do.
Yeah. You know, and I'm not past being a whore for subscriptions.
I know, right? You know, we should look at doing a combined Gleam.io, one of those things.
Yeah.
Try to see about doing that, and you get bonus entries for being subscribed, and maybe we'll do that for October.
No, we just need 37 more followers on the podcast
which
channel.
we could easily get. We could easily get if we did something like that. So we'll put it together, and guys, we'll probably do that for the month of October. We'll do a Gleam. Subtober. Difficult Tober.
Detective Tober.
Something or other. We'll figure that out.
We'll
the name's a work in progress.
We'll get the design team on that right away.
All right, so also today was that the easy button again?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Today was the Nintendo Direct. This was an interesting one. I don't see anything that was saying I need this for that one there, but there was some cool things bringing out the nostalgia in me. I don't know if you guys... I stop by, I get real bored. Yeah, I hear that. So this is the big things that came out for me was this right here I'm going to bring up. The Nintendo Switch Online SNES update. A lot of if you've got the Switch Online Pass, you're going to get these games, classic N64 games, included in that. And it's stuff like that, like the original Super Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda.
To the past.
Lots of old games, and then this is going to be an expanding, forever expanding.
Star Fox. Okay.
Yeah, there's some good ones on there. I don't know what Joe and Mac 2 is, but Kirby's Dream Course is one of the original. Hold on, I need to go change my. I know, for me being an old fart gamer, this was kind of cool. Star Fox is on there, man. F-Zero. Wow.
I know, man.
This was by far probably the biggest thing for me that came out of this Nintendo Direct was this is coming in there. Oh my OMG, 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 GGGGGG. Yeah, so this is by far one of the coolest things that I think came out of this Nintendo Direct was all of these games. Now, if you guys haven't known, I've got the online pass for my Switch, and it's already got some cool games on there, like Tecmo Bowl and some other things on there. And I played the crap out of Tecmo Bowl the other day. I just sat down and I ran through it.
Yeah.
I thought having the OG Nintendo game was cool. Cool. So I'm excited about this one here. And speaking of the nostalgia thing, I'll see if I can find it here. They also announced for the Switch Doom 64. The original Doom on the Nintendo 64, they announced, and I'll see if I can find it here, is coming to the Switch. And it's not showing here, but Bethesda was actually on there. Yeah, there it is. There are at least 64 reasons for fans to get excited about the classic first-person shooter Doom 64 is coming to the Switch, with the ability to play it anywhere being one of them. Doom 64 launches on the Switch November 22nd. I've never played the original Doom, but getting it on the Switch may be a reason for me to actually buy it. Another classic game here, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. The Switch is that perfect. It's in that right range for all these classic games to be played on it. And I'm hoping that they'll bring Knights of the Old Republic to the Switch, because it's perfect for that platform. You know what I'm saying?
Do you remember Rogue Squadron?
Uh,
Was that on the 64? Or was
I don't
that
remember what platform it was, but Star Wars Rogue Squadron, yeah, I
Yeah,
think you
that
can still
was a
get it.
fun game.
I think you can still download it from EA if you got the season pass or their monthly subscription.
I think that was N64.
One of those.
Yeah.
Really, the only other things that came out of there, Banjo-Kazooie was is released on Smash, Xenoblade Chronicles, some new information on Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Overwatch for the Switch. Nothing overly exciting in this one. There were some cool little things, but Nintendo really hasn't been hitting it out of the park with these things, other than their classic games. I grew up on the freaking SNES,
Oh, yeah.
so this kind of stuff is pretty cool. You know,
Watch, they're going to throw some Battletoads on there or something like that.
Battletoads would be cool.
Yeah.
You have your old SNES performance game. There's one game on there, guys, that's a really classic that I used to play the crap out of when I was a kid. And if you've never played it, it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The original, where it was just a map and it was all 2D and everything was very basic and plain. And it was, I sat there for hours playing that. And No Bunga's Ambition. Go check out those two games, guys. They were freaking phenomenal on that time. For me at that time, because I love the strategy stuff, and I was sit there and like, well, how can I beat Dong Zhu and beat this guy? You know, great games.
I just remember playing like Mario Kart and Super Mario World hours on end.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at the Super Nintendo Classic just to see how much it is and what games come with it.
But at the same time, I mean, you got to compare it now to, does it compare to what's on the Switch? And they'll be adding more to the Switch, probably more than what they'll add to that. So
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you don't get anything added to that. It's just whatever games come with it, unless you can emulate or put a if you can mod it.
and I'm sure somebody will at some point in time do that. And it's interesting. So speaking of this old-timey shit, I keep walking into our local Micro Center here, and they have, what is this nerdiness? This is Technically Difficult Podcast, Borealis. This is what this is. At our local Micro Center, they have the classic. They have basically build your own arcade style games.
Mm-hmm.
And you can build the case, you can put the stickers on it you want, color with the buttons you want. And all that runs on is a freaking Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
And
yep.
and you can put, I think they said it's like something like 200 and some odd games on that one flash drive that you put in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got this thing right there. And these are games that you thought back in the day would be like, these are the freaking Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. I really love to build one of those at some point in time just to have it. But what I want is one of the ones that's the old tabletop. You know what I'm talking about? Like you used to walk into the old Pizza Hut and you sat down and you played Pac-Man at the table. That's the table that I want. So I'm trying to figure out where I can find one of those. because that's how I would want to play it. I'd want to build one of those because that way I could set it up in a room somewhere. It could be used as a table, and then when you want to play it, you just shove all the shit on the floor and you start playing Street Fighter.
Throw everything on the floor.
That's how we clean around here, guys. It goes from one spot to another spot. It's out of the way. It's clean.
Don't give all my secrets away.
Raspberry Pis are ridiculous, man. Those are... The latest one is supposed to be freaking badass. So, that is pretty cool there. Yeah, so that's what one of the things I want to try to get into next is one of those. And then I want to have it set up so that I can stream from it too.
Yep.
You know, I think well, there's a bigger streamer, King Gothalion, if you know who that is. He has something like that in his arcade room. He's got like 3 of those machines just set up with different games on it, and it's like freaking awesome. Like, yeah, I'm nerding out over this old school shit. So, yeah.
I'm just looking at this. I'm trying to find something.
Uh-oh. Dangerous.
Yeah, right?
Just got a Rampage machine. Just give me that and a roll of quarters. See, that's the nice thing about those is you don't even need the quarters. You know, unless you're using the old school Rampage, but you can get Rampage on one of these Raspberry Pi things, and you can just sit there and hit the start button and it just plays.
Yeah, just download the ROM.
So, and you just take it off and run, and it's got...
I
Oh, it's a full arcade machine, which is cool in its own right, you know, because you've got one of the originals, but having one of these ones that you could play hundreds of different games on one machine is where I want to be. So that way I can just sit there all day and geek out in front of the old school arcade.
I thought. Oh no, I did. Okay, never mind. This is what I was looking for. Just for historical sake, I have, like, I think every SNES game ever made downloaded.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and look for that. Yeah.
So that would be kind of cool to have.
Yeah, it would.
That's kind of it on the technical sides, guys. It's been kind of a slow 2 weeks. So I'm going to do something a little bit different here. At the end of the month, we have TwitchCon coming up. And guys, I would love to be able to be there, but money isn't going to work out again this year, so unfortunately I'm staying home. But what I'd like to do is, Thorn, what do you think is going to be the big Twitch announcement that comes out of this year's TwitchCon? What's your top two things you think are going to happen out of this year, and then we'll revisit this after TwitchCon and see if we were right.
There's been some rumblings that they are going, or that they were working out doing ad revenue for affiliate streamers.
I've heard that.
Now, I don't know how likely that is, just because of everything that's been going on. I think that'd be a strong move for Twitch, with everything that's gone on in the past, month or so, all the negative publicity that they've had. But I don't know how likely that is. I honestly, I don't know. I would not know what to expect out of it. TwitchCon in general has never been anything that I personally got a lot out of, like a lot of details.
I usually watch their opening keynotes because that's where all the good stuff comes out of. What new things are being released by the end of the year, what's coming on the next year. The one thing I do know that's probably coming is similar to what Mixer's got is the channel currency, I think it's called. It's basically like what you do is you watch channels, you get experience points for being in that channel. I think they're going as far, and I'm not positive on this, but you're going to gain bits just to use in that individual channel just by watching that channel. I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's how they're working it out, but I think they're going to announce something, a full rollout of that on when we can expect that to be rolled out to everybody. It'll probably be another slow rollout where it should probably be hitting full partners shortly after TwitchCon, and then out to everybody by either the end of the year or first of the year-ish time frame. That's probably one of the big things that I foresee. And then encoding for everybody. I think that's going to probably be dropping here real soon too, or the transcoding. I think that's going to be dropping for everybody who's an affiliate or above will get transcoding all the time coming up here real soon.
Yeah, which would be nice.
You know, because you can almost... I don't think I've ever not had a stream that hasn't had... In the last 6 months, I don't think I've ever not had a stream that hasn't had the transcoding. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that I've gotten it. And I'm not sitting there doing the transcoding dance, offline, online, offline, online, just to see if you get it. Not worth it to me.
Yeah,
you know?
like right now we don't.
We're not affiliated on this channel either.
Oh yeah.
So
that's right.
you can't judge it based on this channel because we're not there yet. But guys, if we can get to 50 followers, we've got the numbers to get it. We just need to get to that 50 follower mark. So go ahead and hit that follow button and show some support for two great guys.
And for being mad too.
Yeah. So that's coming up at the end of the month, guys, and I think it's going to be an interesting one because I think they're going to do some damage control. You know, from the whole fallout of Ninja, I think there's going to be some damage control in there, and then they're going to try to roll out some big things to appease those that are. They're going to try to bring people back in from Mixer that went over to Mixer. They're going to try to bring them back in somehow. I think that's where their focus is going to be. How that's going to exactly do, I'm not quite sure, but I think that's what you're going to see. It'd be nice if they announced a larger moderation team to try to fix a lot of these issues we're having with some of these channels, but I don't foresee that happening.
You know, and I'm sorry, I'm just saying, I don't think that they will mention or say anything about all that Ninja stuff. I think that's still too fresh, and they're trying to distance themselves away from that.
I don't think they're going to mention any names, let's put it that way, but I think they're going to be doing... I think they're going to indirectly do damage control. They're going to do it with announcements that are... You're going to say, well, this was caused by that. You know, so I could see that. Like I said, I think it's going to be them trying to bring those that went to Mixer, try to bring them back. I think that's what you're going to see, and you're going to see some kind of rollouts that are going to be directly affecting that. I don't know what they're going to quite be, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ninja, and I don't like bringing up other streamers, well, I guess I do, but if you haven't seen that he is actually getting the first official stream of Gears 5, which is one reason what I thought for sure was going to be in his contract, that he's going to be probably the first streamer that touches any Microsoft-owned base game, Gears 5, Halo. He's going to be the first one to stream those, so he's going to get an influx of people wanting to see those games from that, which in turn is going to give him revenue. So not only did he get a big paycheck from Microsoft, but he's going to get all that paychecks from others as well. Again, I don't blame the guy for making that kind of a move, but you know.
Yeah, more power to him, make his money. That's fine. I don't know. I've never, I'm the type of guy, like, if I saw, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. Okay, if I saw Aaron Rodgers walking around somewhere, I'd be like, oh, hey, it's Aaron Rodgers. But I would not be like, I just the same as like Ninja or whatever. Fine. I don't do like the all out fan type thing.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I just don't do it. So I much rather support the people that I care about and the people that that I'm friends with and whatnot than giving just a small drop in a large pond of revenue to somebody who's not going to ever remember my name. That's just
yep.
Yep.
And Tap, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing him for doing it. I had a feeling that was going to be wrapped into his thing. It's perfect. It's a win-win for both him and Microsoft for him to do that. That's why he made that move. He can distance himself from being strictly a Fortnite streamer, and he can move into other games such as Halo and Gears 5, and because if you guys didn't know, he was a Halo streamer before he was ever was a Fortnite streamer. He got his roots in Halo. He was one of the top in the world in Halo. Yeah, he's got to be sick with Fortnite by now. I know I would be. I was after the first game I played, so whatever.
I was nauseous.
And I'm glad to see that Fortnite is finally starting to get some pushback. You know, they dropped the mechs and everybody's like, man, this game fucking sucks now. You know?
You know what does it for me is that, you know, I've watched a couple people streaming Fortnite, and it's like, you know, they brought in, you know, the storm. I'm sorry guys, my chair keeps on dropping. They brought in the you know, the storm coming in and all that stuff. What I don't like about it is that the storm is not a penalty. Like when we play Ring of Elysium, I mean, if you're caught in the, you know, in the death zone, it hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to really plan. In Fortnite, you could be, sorry, you have to be all the way. You could be all the way across the map, and they're like so casually just running through, looting, doing all this stuff, because they know they'll make it. And now they have revives in Fortnite, and they have, it's like, I just I don't get the fascination with it.
They've
I
stayed
don't-
relevant by stealing things from other games, and I don't know if the revives were in before Apex dropped or after. I don't remember. You know, I'm not gonna bash them for it, but they seem to be taking ideas from other games and putting in there, because the mechs are a direct pushback at Apex and Titanfall.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't see at one time, they had Borderlands, because Borderlands 3 is going to be Epic Store client only, so they was able to put Borderlands skins in Fortnite. I don't blame Epic for their marketing and thinking, but the game itself, to me, it was never really fun. I never got the enjoyment out of it that some other people do, and it is what it is. I got other battle royals I'd rather play. Ring of Elysium and Realm Royale are two to name the top of the list. Each their own, man.
I guess so. Yeah.
What I thought would be cool, and I don't know, Microsoft, if you're listening, what would be cool is a Halo style battle royale game where you can
It's
drop.
coming. You know it's coming.
I'm sure they'll probably have it in the works. You
It's
drop as a
Call of
regular
Duty does it.
Marine. You drop as a regular Marine, and one of your drops is you pick up a Spartan armor.
Or an ODST or something like that.
You know, your vehicles are the vehicles from there. It to me, it's just speculation, but I think it'd be cool as shit. You physically can't do that. I know, but they would find a way.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm just saying, you know, they'd find a way to make it work for that. Or just everybody drops as a Spartan and that's how you go about it. I don't care. You know. Gears 5 would also work as well as a battle royale.
I've never played a single Gears game. Never. have.
I've not. I've got Gears for the Xbox downstairs somewhere and never touched it.
You don't even have an Xbox anymore.
Or maybe I turned it in when I traded in my Xbox. I never touched it. Never opened it. Didn't buy it for that. I bought it for other reasons.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It's not in the works. Or at least not that I know of. Is it in the works? I'm just saying it would be really cool if they could do it, because Halo would be a perfect franchise for something like that to happen. Armorless Spartan dropping, yeah, and then you go from there. Who knows? It's not a bad idea. Guys, we can't have a technically difficult podcast without at least touching on our favorite franchises again. Guys, we got the start of the NFL season starting here this week, tomorrow night to be exact. Starting off the season with Green Bay versus Chicago. Is it in Chicago or Green Bay?
It is in Chicago.
It's a good game to kick off the season with, guys. And I'm not going to go a whole lot into the NFL. We're going to talk about that throughout the year. I bet the Halo BR would be done really well, but you would probably a lot of flack from the pursuits. Purist. Yeah, I get it, but, you know, it is what it is. Or drop as the aliens. That's how you do. So we're both here. We talked a little bit about it last week on there, what we thought we were going to do. I play the shit out of it too, man. We talked last episode about what we thought our postseason predictions were for the year, and now we can actually talk about what's actually hitting from. Was there any cuts from your team that you saw as surprising?
No, from the Packers, no. I'm trying to think. Well, they did cut Deshaun Kaiser.
I'm not being a Browns fan. I'm not surprised by that at all.
No, I mean he just, he had. Okay, this chair is about to frustrate me, though.
You're gonna see Thorne throw the chair through the camera.
I'm gonna be standing up. Jeez. He had flashes, but more often than not, I mean, he would throw the ball like 5 feet in front of the receiver on the ground or overthrow it or whatnot. He can't do it consistently enough. I'm sure he has all the talent in the world. I don't know if it's something like physically, like he just can't get it, or if it's between his ears.
I think it's between his ears, to be honest with you. He does have the gifts. I've seen him make some spectacular throws that he started for Cleveland. Saw him make some spectacular throws, but then I also saw him give away a lot of games. So, it is what it is. For my Browns, there was really only a couple surprising moves, which is, they went with a rookie kicker and punter. But guys, this rookie punter, punter is able to kick a 62-yard field goal in practice, but still, as a punter, he kicked a 62-yard field goal. He can punt the ball 75 yards. I saw it in an actual preseason game. It was amazing. So this guy's going to be something to watch. I don't know if he's going to be good. That's probably about the biggest surprises. And then they cut Seth DeValve, a tight end they've used for the last few years. But other than that, nothing super surprising of the cuts. They kept 3 quarterbacks, which I knew they were going to do from early on. Mostly because they don't have faith that the backup quarterback, and I can't even think of his damn name because he's not that relevant. They think he's there to mentor Baker and not necessarily to be the guy in the long. If something were to happen, they're probably only dressed 2 on a weekly basis. But if something happened in the long term to Baker, knock on wood, they would probably start the guy from the AFL, Gilbert, in the next week because he's got more potential than what the backup quarterback we've got has. But he's serviceable. He's smart in the head. He can help Baker along the way. He can help the young guy along the way. He'll be a good number 2, but I think long term, the other guy is what they're going to go with if something were to happen. Other big news that came out today, Ezekiel Elliott's now the highest paid running back in NFL history. All right, Tap, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for coming by.
See you later, Tap.
I'm not surprised by this. He is probably by far one of the top 3 backs in the league. And it's only an extension, so he's technically a Dallas Cowboy right now for the next 8 years. And I think it's something like $90 million.
Yeah, it's $90 million.
50 of it's guaranteed.
Who was that? Jared Goff. Jared Goff got that 100% guaranteed contract.
It's coming in the future, guys. You're going to see not every player is going to have a guaranteed contract, but your stars are going to be fully guaranteed.
Oh no, it's a $134 million contract with $110 million guaranteed.
And the other 20 is probably a signing bonus.
Yeah, 80% of that is guaranteed.
It's ridiculous, man. And that's for a quarterback he's truly a system quarterback. But like somebody was saying this morning, is that system's probably not going anywhere because Sean McVay's very bright, and he'll probably keep that team together for quite a long time. So barring injury, there'll probably be another run like you see with New England, a system quarterback that is good at what he does, and he doesn't need to be the best. He's getting paid, and he can play. So,
I mean, on one hand, I did it from the players. They and Jerry Jones made a comment, and he put his foot in his mouth because the second that I read the comment, I knew exactly what the retort from the players was going to be. He said, Jerry Jones was talking about Ezekiel Elliott, and he said, we expect our players to honor their commitments. And this is the same GM that cut a person instead of paying them for the contract that he signed them to.
Yeah.
The whole thing about a contract is that you're supposed to carry out that contract from both sides. It's supposed to be that safety net for both sides, So I did it for the guaranteed. I just think the money is quickly going to a spot where it's going to be near impossible for teams to keep up.
As long as people keep paying the ticket prices, all they got to do is raise the ticket prices. People keep paying it to watch their team. There's a very few, and this is exactly a perfect example. Melvin Gordon in San Diego, LA, for the Chargers, who's not getting paid because they can't fill the stands. LA doesn't want the Chargers there. They're not, and San Diego didn't want them. They're basically, San Diego's basically, or LA Chargers, are basically a team without a home, and they can't pay Melvin Gordon, and they don't necessarily need to because that's not their offense. But it's one of those things where that's a situation where they're not going to pay him because they just don't have the money coming in to support the big contracts,
I think in 2021 we will have a new CBA.
21 or 22, yeah.
Yeah, so it's coming up soon. But what this is going to do is you're going to... And it all depends on how these contracts are laid out. I mean, if they have like no trade clauses or whatnot. But NFL contracts usually don't have no trade clauses because trades are not something that happens a lot in the NFL.
Not with your big name players.
It's not like baseball where teams that you can get traded. You can sign a contract 1 year and then off season you can get traded. But what this might do is a whole lot more on the trade market for teams that can't afford these contracts that they've set out. A couple years prior. So you might see Jared Goff in like a Raiders uniform or something like that in a couple years down the road. So,
I think in the next CBA, they're talking about you're probably not going, from the player's perspective, they're not going to want to see the franchise tag anymore. So that's going to be one of the bargaining chips that they'll be. It's not, you're only seeing maybe 7 players a year that are being franchised anyway. So I don't see that as being something that's going to be, we got to have this gone. But it's going to be one of those things, well, we'll give you this, but we want that taken away. It's going to be one of those bargaining chip type things.
It's going to come. It's going to come on the opposite end too, though. If the owners get rid of the franchise tag, then there will be something else that they get in return.
One thing I also see happening is you're gonna still have your salary caps, but I think you're gonna get that exclusion for one player. It's gonna be like a different franchise tag. You're gonna get an exclusion for that one player that can go over and above, usually for quarterbacks, over and above the salary cap as it is, so you can keep your franchise quarterback there and still put a good team around him to win.
Yeah,
that's something that I see I'm hearing talked about.
They'll have like what's it called? They have it in the NBA.
Luxury tax.
Luxury tax.
Luxury tax. I could see something like that in the NFL. I definitely could.
Well, they will need it if they do away with the franchise tag, and then they make it to where you can have one player that does not count against the salary cap. Then they'll need a luxury tax.
Which will help out the smaller teams in the future, because if they use that to pay the other team so that they can pay for more players, it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't. And I think it would probably work better in the NFL than it would the NBA. In the long run, because again, you're not going to want to pay 5 players to be over that. You're really only going to pay one to 2 players, your star receiver, your star quarterback, and maybe a star defensive player. To be that way. I don't see it being much beyond that. I also think they're going to see in the next CBA, you're going to see a reduction in preseason games. I'm thinking you're going to see probably 2 preseason games. And then you're going to get an expanded play. They're going to do away with the buys in the playoffs. I think that's what you're going to see. Is that you're going to
See, I don't know if they'll do away with that. They were talking about limiting the amount of preseason games, but adding another week, another game to every team's schedule, and then doing two bye weeks for each team.
I've heard that too. You know, I've also heard
you would play 17 games.
I've heard the dumbest thing that I've heard was they want to add 2 more weeks, but your players can only cap out at 16 games being played.
Yeah.
Which would in turn increase your roster size because you got to cover for that there.
To increase the roster size, yeah.
But what that would do is, and I think they would again have an exception for your kickers, your punters, and for your quarterbacks is what I'm hearing. But everybody else would be under that rule that they can only play 16 total games. And so that's been on. I think I don't like the idea because I'm paying to see. Like if I pay to go see a Browns game this year, I'm willing to pay to play Baker, Jarvis, Odell, and it's like the NBA when you're resting players. You know, if they're injured, you're going to know ahead of time that they're injured. If you're just sitting there because they have to sit and you don't know ahead of time when you're buying your tickets, that's going to piss me off as a fan.
Well, and it's like, okay, so, okay, yeah, if you have an exception where you can play your quarterback all the time, what team is going to play their quarterback when they have to sit their offensive line, their first string offensive line?
But on that same token, you're not going to do them all at one time.
No, but I mean, like in the Packers, like David Bakhtiari, he's like a all-pro, offensive lineman.
Right.
So on the week that you have to sit him, you're not going to play Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Because it just the risk does not outweigh the reward. And then you'll have teams like, if like the Browns or the Packers or whoever, if they're on a run of like 8-9 wins in a row and they've got the division locked up, they're not going to play their star players for an extra game when they don't have to. There would be no reason to do that.
You're going to see it. You're going to see your stars getting played in 2. They're going to be sitting in the 2 key areas. They're going to be sitting in the early weeks where it doesn't really matter, and they're going to be playing late after things have been wrapped up. So we've secured our playoff spot. We don't need this guy to play. We're going to sit him for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I really want to see these guys play, is because to me, you're still pushing for that first round bye. You're still pushing for that. So to me, it's a dumb rule, and I hope that it doesn't see the light of day. But it's the NFL; anything can happen.
Yeah, who knows?
That's really it, guys. I mean, the NFL, it starts this week. We'll hopefully see that. I've got Sunday off finally, and if the new job starts, I'll finally be able to sit down and watch football on Sundays again. That's what I'm most excited about it all, because I've been trying all year to get off of Sundays. I've been like, I don't want to work Sundays anymore, but we don't have. I'm like, you've got 4 other people you could put on this damn Sunday shift. I've been doing it for 2 years, and I did it on a volunteer basis. Get me off Sundays. So I have to blow vacation days on a Sunday to sit home and watch football. Stupid.
Yeah. And I'm torn because tomorrow night the Packers are playing and it's Pantless Thursday. So
that's why I have a TV right there.
I might have it up on a screen, on another screen, like streaming it. Because we actually, so at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of things that happened with the job and whatnot. So we completely cut out cable TV. We cut it, like our phone plan. We cut down on our phone plan, and we're starting to bring some. So I love football, but I'm a big baseball fan because of everything that baseball signifies. It's summertime, it's staying up late, and all that stuff. So I have not watched. I've been to one baseball game this entire season. I have not watched a single game on TV. Football season's around the corner. My wife's like, we got to turn the table back on. I'm like, what?
Look at it. Go this way. Go Hulu, man. It's cheaper than your regular cable, and you can do that. And if you look into it right, guys, and this is another plug for another thing that I'm looking at here. Disney Plus is beginning to start a bundle pack pricing where you can get Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for the same price you're paying for Netflix right now. So I think it's like $12.99.
It's $14.
$12 to $14 a month, and you get Disney Plus, which you'll be able to watch shows like The Mandalorian, WandaVision, any of the Star Wars movies, you'll be able to see them all. You'll get ESPN Plus, another Disney product, and all that they offer. And they've got some interesting shows on there. Plus, that also makes you an ESPN Insider, which you get all their special content, which really pisses me off that I got to pay to read a news article. And then you get Hulu, which their live TV is really good. I don't like their channel guide, but beyond that, it's been actually pretty good, has it not? We have not since they updated my Android TV downstairs. It's been really good. You know, the show, we very rarely have any problems with the app. The shows come in pretty clear, and they're in 4K for the most part. Look at that. At least look at Hulu, and you'll get your live sports because that's what they advertise. Is you'll get baseball, you'll get.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's so we got the cable on now, and actually, we were paying a lot for cable TV and internet and all that.
Yep.
So I talked to them last week. They brought out all new equipment. I got a small speed boost on my internet,
Okay.
which was nice, for free, and then all the channels that I need to watch, I'm paying like $20 a month for.
That's pretty good.
Which is fine. I mean, that works for me. I've got a free speed upgrade, and I get my TV. So I do need to put a TV down here. I'm wondering what I could talk my wife into now. So I'm just looking around here to see, like, there's a big space, like, right up here that I could stick a TV and mount it. Huh.
Yeah, and you get a smart TV so you can put the internet right on it, and you don't have to worry about putting cable down there.
No, well, there's already cable ran down it. I keep the modem and the router down by me, so if the kids are ever like not getting off the games or the laptop or whatever when they're supposed to, I just pull the plug. So
Meanie.
I'm that kind of dad.
So
I'm ultra passive aggressive.
You were talking about baseball. Postseason's coming up here. How are your teams doing in the playoff race?
No, not talking about it.
That bad, huh?
Not talking about it.
I haven't even looked at the standings. It's been that way. Indians are, looks like 6.5 games out.
And the Twins, right? The Twins are ahead of the Indians.
Yeah, right now. Well, and that is there was a point in time after the All-Star break where the Indians were ahead of the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
But then you looked at the schedule, and the Twins are playing all the cupcakes: Kansas City, Chicago, Detroit, and Cleveland had teams like New York and Boston, and they went through the fucking gauntlet. So it's like, yeah, they pulled way ahead, and now it's there.
The Indians are only half a game out from the.
They still probably can make the wild card, which you don't really.
They can make the wild card.
The wild card is ridiculous in baseball. I don't even 1 game playoff.
I'm fine with it.
It is what it is.
Except for last year, all the Cubs fans were like flipping their shit over because they had to play 163 games to be able to play 164. Because the Brewers and the Cubs had the same record, and so they had to go into a 1-game playoff to find out who won the division.
So they had to play off the playoff.
Yeah, they had a playoff to playoff. So the Brewers went down to Wrigley Field, beat the Cubs. The Brewers win the division, have the best record in the National League. So they had home field advantage, and the Cubs lost to the Rockies in that first wild card game.
That's rough, man.
Yep. Oh, I loved it. It wasn't rough for me. Can't stand the Cubs.
Yeah. You know what we never talked about tonight, man? We never got to talk about World of Warcraft. So we'll wrap it up with some World of Warcraft chat. Guys, we've been playing WoW Classic over the last week since it launched, and I was on the fence. I was like, I'm not going to play it, dude. Why do I want to go back and play an old game, that had all kinds of problems back in the day? Why do I want to do... I've not been having more fun playing WoW than I am right now.
And yet you want to play all the
Dude, I am having a blast playing WoW.
Yeah, a blast playing it, man. And a lot of it has to do with the company that we're keeping. Thorn's there with me. Tap is there. Guys we play games with all the time are there, and new faces have come into our Discord. It's been an explosion. Okay, WoW has been an explosion in our Discord, and I brought a lot of new faces in there, and hopefully in the long run we're gonna see some things from that. And it's been fun. We started up our own Misfit guild within that. We're sitting, last count was what, 35 ish,
something like that. Yeah.
and that's including alts. There's a lot of alts in
Yeah,
there.
that's probably about 15 to 20 people, I would say. Individual people.
Yeah, regulars, and then there's a few. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but having a blast, man. I've got a level 20 priest, and enjoying healing for a change and not being the main tank or DPS.
No.
I can just sit back and say, okay, keep that person alive, let that person die, keep that person alive. And then I end up dying because I overheal and, pull too much aggro.
Yep.
And then I started leveling last night with Thorn. We got a level 8 or 9 hunter, which has been fun. It's different. I haven't played a hunter in a long time. And that's where I'm at right now. So we're enjoying that.
I've got an 18 shaman. I've got a level 8 mage and a level 8 warrior.
He likes the 8s. 888.
No. The warrior, I think, I'm going to have the most fun on.
It's from what Axe was telling us. It's a point and click kind of character. You don't have to do a lot of thinking until you start raiding. You don't have to do a lot of thinking. You just basically hold aggro, lose aggro, gain aggro back, hold aggro, and then die.
Pretty much.
Unless you got a good healer, and then you don't die.
So I'll be dying a lot.
He's saying you're not a good healer.
Yeah,
She was smiting the crap out of those mobs yesterday.
Yeah.
Between you and her, I could not hold aggro.
Well, I was putting out a shit ton of DPS, and Thorn, after I got my arcane shot, my level upgrades, I put out more DPS, so you're gonna have a harder time holding aggro. But on the hindsight, I have to watch it because that pulls a lot of mana.
Yeah, it does.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
All right.
Good deal.
I think that's going to wrap us up for this week's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Any final thoughts, Thorn?
No, I'm going to kill a cat.
Chinese food herd. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the Technically Difficult Podcast. We are a production of the Misfits, and that's another side project of Thorn and mine. We put together a Discord with a lot of great like-minded people. We consider it if you want to know about the Discord, it is it's a place for people to have Discords that don't want to run their own Discord. It's kind of how we look at it. We basically give you your own section. You don't have to worry about adding the bots. You don't have to worry about doing the maintenance. We do a lot of that for you. And we help you with anything that you need. We've got bots that will help you with numbers. We've got bots that will help you with, going live posts. We've got bots that will help you do random mundane shit. And then you basically just bring your people into our Discord. They get to interact with other great streamers. And that's how we're trying to grow this thing. And so far, it's been working fairly decently. So hopefully it will keep growing. And we'll get to where we want to be someday at really, really helping out a lot of people. Let's just say I've been watching a few other Discords that we're in, and some people are taking a very similar idea to us and growing their own Discords that same way. So it could be the new thing going forward. So if you are interested, feel free to hit up Thorn or myself, and
maybe
we
we need to do that. Maybe that's a service. It could be like Discord management by the Misfits. we come in and manage your Discord server.
Hey, I'd do it for a service fee.
Yeah, $25 a month.
2,500, yeah.
Once the setup is done, it's pretty much just sit there and make sure nothing else happens.
Yep.
Yeah. If something breaks, we try to fix it.
Don't tell them that.
We're constantly in the server making sure
It's
nothing's
very difficult. It's very
Yeah.
every message that you send in Discord, you have to Actually, it's like the old telephone system. We have to take this wire from here and connect it over here to make sure your message is through. It's very difficult.
Again, if you guys are interested in a Discord like that, feel free to hit us up. The command should be there if you want access to it, but the stupid Streamlabs bot isn't working like it's supposed to. And we'll get that fixed for the next time around. None of it's working. I've got it all in. I've got a few of those commands in there, and none of it's working, so we'll get that figured out. I'll figure out a bot to put in there. And then that way we've got some of these basic commands. Yeah, you can see that right there at the bottom of the screen. And guys, come check us out. Next week is another session of our second episode of the D&D Curse of Strahd campaign, Ravenloft Curse of Strahd. Be sure to stop by and check us out. About the same time, starting time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 Central, and 7:30 Mountain, 6:30 Pacific. If you're over in Europe, figure it out.
Yeah. You do the math.
But you know, it's very, very fun. We've got a good group of guys, and again, it should be starting to get interesting here as we start to develop these characters and really move on the story. Keep an eye on the Twitter, which you see right there at TEK Difficulty, TEK_difficulty, and you'll be able to find out more about what's happening with these two streams. We want to thank you guys for stopping by, hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Thorn, for posting those links. Those are links to our personal channels. Go give us a follow if you haven't already. And because it's September, make sure you drop us a sub if you would like to, just because we are cheap and we will not be afraid to whore out for...
Do it!
Do it now! Get to the chopper!
Hit the subscribe button now!
Guys, this has been a Technically Difficult podcast. Thank you for stopping by. We are bringing you today's news!
Tomorrow.
Have a good night, everybody.